You know, you hear these buzzwords all the time, like holistic development and education, but what does it actually mean?
Right. It's easy to get lost in the jargon.
Exactly. There's just so much information flying around. So today we wanted to cut through some of that noise and really dive deep into one particular article that caught our eye.
Yeah, this piece from Ratopati by Dumbar Singh Saud. The title translates roughly to Holistic Education or Education Connected to Life Behavior. And it really gets into the philosophy behind it.
It does. It frames it as something much bigger than just schoolwork. It's about, well, developing a whole person.
Absolutely. Beyond just passing exams or getting grades.
So our mission for this deep dive is basically to unpack that. You know, what is holistic education? What are its main features?
And why is it becoming maybe more urgent now? Especially in places like Nepal, which the article focuses on.
Yeah, and ultimately, how could this kind of thinking actually change things? Not just in schools, but like in life generally.
Big questions.
Definitely. Okay, so let's start with the basics. When we say holistic education, what's the fundamental idea here? Because it's clearly not just classroom learning as we typically think of it.
Right. The core shift is looking at the entire person. It's a philosophy focused on total development, moving way beyond just academic smarts.
Okay, the entire person.
Yeah. And the belief is that real identity, finding meaning, purpose, that stuff comes from connection.
Connected.
Connection with your community, with the natural world, and also connecting with deeper values, things like compassion, peace. It sees the learner as, well, a whole being.
Not just a brain waiting to be filled in.
Exactly, not just a vessel for facts.
So the article mentioned some key characteristics, drawing on Robin N. Martin's work from back in 2003. What stands out there?
Well, Martin really highlights experiential learning, learning by doing.
Hands-on stuff.
Yeah, and that's crucial because it makes knowledge stick in a way that just reading a textbook doesn't, really.
Makes sense.
Then there's the role of human relationships. This is often overlooked, I think, but it's huge. How we learn from each other, building empathy, collaboration.
Not just solo studying.
Right, and underpinning all of that is a real respect for fundamental values. It's not just about getting knowledge, but about how you use it ethically.
That ties into the concept of holism itself, doesn't it? Understanding the parts by looking at the whole system.
Precisely. Instead of isolating subjects or skills, you see how they connect. It's about understanding human potential by linking it to all these different layers of meaning and experience.
So it's about integrating everything.
Exactly. Integrated development, the article lists them out. Intellectual, emotional, social, physical, artistic, creative, even spiritual development.
Wow, that's comprehensive.
It is. And the idea is that knowledge really flourishes when these things are woven together, not kept in separate boxes. Oh. Education becomes a tool for full human development, way beyond the syllabus.
Okay, that sounds great in theory. But is this actually happening anywhere? The article mentions a few countries, right? Finland, Canada.
New Zealand, too, yeah. It points to places where education is already understood, more broadly, as helping students develop completely. They're integrating experience-based learning, holistic ideas into their actual curricula. So it's not just theory.
But it's not perfect even there, is it?
No, and that's a really important point the article makes. Even these, leading countries face big challenges, things we see everywhere. Too much reliance on tech, mental health crises among young people, social inequality.
So just adopting the philosophy isn't enough.
Exactly. It shows that making holistic education work requires constant rethinking, checking in with what's actually needed locally in that specific community. It's definitely a process, not just a policy you switch on.
That need for continuous review, for local context, that really hits home when the article turns to Nepal. It makes a strong case for why this is urgently needed there. What's the situation?
Well, Nepal's made progress, definitely. More kids are in school, better gender balance than before. But, like many places globally, there are big gaps in quality.
Quality meaning?
Meaning education that's truly inclusive, practical, something you can actually use in life. It's one thing to get kids in the door, quite another to equip them for life outside it.
And the article highlights a specific problem. Rote learning seems dominant.
Very much so. Still largely focused on memorizing facts for exams. Teachers mostly lecture. Students don't get much chance to ask questions or, connect it to their own lives.
So school becomes about just passing.
Yeah, just jumping through hoops, passing classes, rather than becoming, creative thinkers, responsible citizens.
Which raises that big question, doesn't it? What's the point if it doesn't help people engage with the world?
Exactly. And the article brings up something really sobering here. The rising rates of youth suicide in Nepal. Many young people feeling stressed, inadequate, unsure of who they are.
That's incredibly serious.
It is, and it underlines how mental health often gets sidelined in education. Holistic education tries to address this head-on. It promotes self-reflection, mindfulness, empathetic dialogue.
Getting students to engage with their inner world.
Right. Their feelings, their hopes, their anxieties, stuff beyond the textbook. It's a stark reminder of the human cost when education is just about scores.
Okay, so given that urgency, how do we move from theory to practice? What are the first steps the article suggests for making this shift happen?
Well, the starting point is rethinking the teaching itself, the pedagogy, moving away from just theory and exams.
More practical stuff.
Yeah, integrating practical teaching, project-based learning where students tackle real problems, and also methods like self-assessment so they learn to judge their own progress. It's about applying knowledge.
And presumably, teachers need support to do that.
Absolutely critical. The article really stresses training teachers differently, helping them develop creativity, self-reflection, collaboration skills. It even floats the idea of provincial-level teacher development programs.
So, upskilling the educators. Makes sense. What about the curriculum itself?
Big changes needed there, too. The article challenges how we see things like art, music, sports, often treated as just extras.
Right, the extracurriculars.
Yeah, a holistic curriculum would make them central, integrated. Think about connecting science lessons to local environmental action, or using math to understand cooperative businesses, or social studies exploring community history, local heritage. It's about linking learning directly to life, to community responsibility.
That sounds much more meaningful. But what about assessment? If everything still boils down to one big exam score?
That's the bottleneck, isn't it? The article is clear. Genuine reform of the exam system is crucial. As long as evaluation is just that annual score, it's hard to really value project work or emotional intelligence or community service.
Well, what's the alternative?
It calls for serious long-term planning to bring in other methods. Things like assessing projects, using portfolios of student work, peer assessment where students evaluate each other, and self-assessment. It's redefining what success looks like.
But doesn't all this, the projects, the teacher training, maybe smaller classes, doesn't it sound expensive? That's always the pushback, right? Resources are scarce.
That's the common argument, yeah.
Yeah.
But the article has a really powerful counter to that. It basically demolishes the "it's too expensive" myth.
Oh.
It shows how some of the deepest learning can happen with very low-cost resources, things already available.
Like what?
Think about using local folktales to teach values or language, or community mapping projects, studying local plants, interviewing village elders about history or traditional skills.
Wow, okay, so using what's already there.
Exactly. These activities can build leadership, empathy, problem-solving skills, all without needing fancy labs or tech. It's about being ingenious, leveraging local knowledge, turning limitations into strengths.
That's a fantastic point. It also tackles another criticism that this is all just some Western idea being imposed.
Right. And it counters that by pointing out Nepal's own rich traditions, things like the Gurukul system, Buddhist educational philosophies, the knowledge passed down in different ethnic communities.
So it's not foreign at all.
No, it suggests holistic education can actually draw strength from these indigenous roots. It can be culturally grounded, not just imported.
Okay, one more potential concern. In today's globalized, competitive world, does a holistic approach adequately prepare students? Does it build the hard skills needed? Some might worry it's too soft.
The article argues the exact opposite, actually. It makes the case that what the modern world really demands are skills like collaboration, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, adaptability.
Skills for navigating uncertainty.
Precisely. And those are the very skills a holistic approach is designed to foster powerfully. It suggests this could even be a basis for Nepal to lead in areas like creative industries, social entrepreneurship, sustainable businesses. It's future-proofing, not falling behind.
And what about technology? Where does that fit into this model? It's not anti-tech, is it?
Not at all. But it's about purposeful use. Technology as a tool for creation, for discovery, dialogue, problem solving, not just passive consumption.
Can you give an example?
Sure. Imagine students using basic mobile phones, maybe, to create radio programs in their local language about community issues, or using online tools to conduct surveys about village needs.
So tech becomes a means to an end.
An enabler for deeper learning and community engagement. But of course, that again highlights the need for teacher training, helping educators use tech in these creative, holistic ways.
Okay, so wrapping things up then, this deep dive really shows that holistic education isn't just a different way to run a classroom. It seems like a much deeper philosophy.
Yeah, for society, for the state, for the whole education system, it's pushing for education to be relevant to life, based on values, and deeply connected to community.
It really reframes the whole purpose.
It does, and maybe it leaves us and you listening with a thought to ponder. What amazing possibilities open up for individuals to really flourish, for society to maybe reconstruct itself, if we genuinely shift how we see education, moving from just, cramming facts.
And nurturing whole human beings connected to themselves, their communities, and the wider world.
Exactly. What could that unlock?